Thank you. I'm Mr. Lehner, and welcome back to Mr. Lehner's Math Extravaganza. Today, without the applause, without the clicker, and without some of our technology up here. In today's webisode, what we're going to take a look at is area and perimeter of triangles. We're going to take what we've talked about with squares and rectangles and now apply it to a different shape here. We're working with different polygons, vertexes, different type of vocabulary. The example we have up on the front board here is our triangle. Now the first thing when finding the perimeter of the triangle, which again is the outside portion, is it's handy to have a nice little ruler like this. And you're going to take this ruler, you would measure each one of the sides. So if I was trying to find the, let's say centimeters here, if I was working in centimeters of this triangle, I'd line up my centimeters on this one, which is about 28 centimeters of this way. I'd line it up on the bottom here, which is about 28 centimeters here. And I would go a long way here. This full one here is about 30 centimeters to here. And another 10 centimeters there. So I would then add up all my sides after measuring. I had 40, 28, which is 68, and another 28, which is 88 plus 8, which would be 96, if I did my mental math correctly there. So the perimeter of this triangle would be 96 centimeters. Now when looking with area, we can use a formula, much like we talked about for squares and for our rectangles. So some of you may already know this formula, but if I didn't and I looked at this triangle up here, there's something I can do to help me out. I can pretend and make it a rectangle or my square. So right now I just made a square. So when we used to find the area of rectangles or squares, we used to multiply length times width. So if I'm looking here, this is 1, 2, 3. This is a 3 by 1, 2, 3. So my area of this rectangle would be 3 by 3, or 3 times 3, which is 9. Well, if I'm looking at the area of this triangle right here, I notice that this triangle is half of the square. These two are half. So if the total is 9, and I'm looking for the area of just this square, what's half of 9? Half of 9 would be 4.5. And that's basically the half base times height. So the base, which is the bottom, 3 times the height, which was 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times the half is 4.5 in that one. I could have also done it a different way. I could have multiplied my base times height, so 3 times 3 is 9, and divided it by 2, because two of these triangles, this is going to have an area of 4.5, and this is going to have an area of 4.5. And again, that would equal 9 total in my triangle. So we just worked on the perimeter of this one, and we just worked on the area on this one using our formula. And again, when I first started my problem, it was a simple triangle just like this, which had an area of 4.5. Okay, what you are going to do at home, I've given you a little bit of a different triangle, so hopefully you have some grid paper handy. I know you got the pencil ready to go and your rulers as well. And I'm going to have you guys try and find the area of this triangle. I realize you can't measure the perimeter at home with our triangle that's up here on the board. So I want you to find the area of this triangle. Go ahead, pause this video, and we'll see what you come up with. Okay, there's a few different strategies that you may have decided to come up with. This one's a little bit bigger here. But you may have decided to draw your line up, go across. Same thing on this side, draw my line up, draw my line across like this. Okay, so now I've made a giant rectangle up on the board up here. I'm trying to find the area on the inside of this triangle. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is an 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an 8 by 4. So if I was finding the area of this rectangle, I would do 8 times 4, which would be 32. But I just want to know what this triangle's area is inside here. So I'm going to find the area of the triangle by doing, last time we did a half, so let's do base times the height divided by 2. Okay? So the base times the height would be 8 times 4 divided by 2, so 32 divided by 2 is going to be 16. So the area of this inside square is 16. which would lead me to believe that this is 8 here, this is 8 here. Again, this is going to be half of the square up here, or sorry, the rectangle up here. So this part could fit in here, this part could fit in here. Basically, I could fit 2 of these triangles inside my rectangle up here. If you were measuring for perimeter at home, again, you would take your ruler and you would measure each side of your triangle as you guys are going through. And say we're working with centimeters, don't forget for area, centimeters squared. When finding the perimeter, I'm just measuring the outside number as we're working through our triangles. Again, this is just the first step in our area and perimeter of triangles. In our next episode, we'll continue to work with the formula and figuring out, well, how do you determine precisely what's the base and what's the height? Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Langer's Math Extravaganza, this time without the clapping. As always, we'll see you next time.